Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to have a quick review. You know the format. We review, we cover the bulk of the new information, and then we hit a quick end cap review, right? Review some of this stuff to make sure our feet are firmly planted before we move forward. We'll hit all the new stuff, and then we'll go ahead and review what we covered today at the end of the little session, right? Okay, are you trying to get online?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what we do. All right, we're at the desktop, right?
I forgot how to do it.
That's okay. That's okay. So, this is the desktop, right?
Yeah.
Just home base in the Windows operating system, right?
Mm-hmm.
See the taskbar?
Yep.
The bar? On the right somewhere in the taskbar is where we'll be able to see our available wireless networks. That's right there. Do you remember what that little area is called? It's like, it sounds like system sleigh, but it's not sleigh. That little area where everything is up and running. System tray.
Oh, tray.
System tray, remember?
Okay.
System tray, remember how I talked about that's always the hardest for someone to remember. Mm-hmm. System tray. What's the bar called again?
Taskbar.
Taskbar. What's the Windows flag technically called? It's just called Windows Start, right?
Windows Start.
Windows Start. The taskbar. System tray, and what is this whole area here?
The desktop.
The desktop. And we're not fully booted up into Windows fully until we get to the what?
Home page?
Well, the home page would be the page that you first get on when you get online with the web browser. We're not fully booted up until we get to the, starts with the D, just like this. Just remember, no trick questions. We just talked about it. We already said it. Starts with the D. What is this page called? What is that called right there?
The home page. The
what is this?
Screensaver.
What is this?
The
is
table.
It okay?
Table.
Uh-huh.
Tabletop. Table.
Tabletop. It's not a table. What if it started with something with a desk? Be familiar? The desktop. The desktop.
Oh.
This is the desktop.
I thought that was a trick question.
No. What do we say? There's no trick questions with ITB ever, right?
Yeah,
never a trick question. Never a trick question. So, taskbar, desktop. The home page would be the first page you come to when you go online on the internet.
Which would be Google or...
Yeah, whatever you set it to via your web browser. Okay, a screensaver is something that plays when your computer is not active on your screen. And it does different things. They used to do that with the old CRT monitors, so it would not burn a permanent image into the screen. Those aren't needed anymore, not with the technology and the displays. Nobody's really using screensavers much, and they're not necessary. But that's neither here nor there. So now that we're at the desktop, see the system tray? So we're going to go right down here, right to our Wi-Fi. Remember, by clicking this, this is automatically going to show us your network, the available Wi-Fi networks in the area, right? Right? Do you remember what airplane mode does?
Shuts off the Wi-Fi.
Everything wireless. All wireless communications, Bluetooth, everything, it shuts it off. Why? Because they theorize it could interfere with the flight controls. If you ever take take a flight, you can put it in airplane mode, and you are supposedly on the safe side. So we're going to look for Gerard Free Library, and choose connect. Oh, that is not it. All right, so it'll be here. There it is. It's a little slow today. We are connected. Yes, it's a little slow. It's a little bottleneck. Okay.
Is that from the weather, or do you think that's from a lot of kids playing games right now?
It could be from a number of things. It's not from the heat, though.
Okay.
No, not from the heat. Storms, yes. Heat, not really. Okay, so look, this is your homepage. This is Google. This is the page you first get to when you go online. So, desktop, taskbar, System tray.
System tray.
Right. Windows start. Okay.
Windows start.
Yeah.
Way over here.
Yeah. So like I said, I think we need a little bit of a refresher. Seems like a little bit of a refresher. So let's refresh what we've learned so far. We'll start from the very beginning. I'll throw a few things out there and see how we are. What is digital information? What's digital?
It's the language how it communicates.
Right. It's the entire machine language, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Basically consists of two numbers, right? Remember those two numbers?
Ones and zeros.
Ones and zeros, right? Binary numbers. Ones and zeros, that's the binary system. Ones and zeros, it's the entire machine language, right? That's all computers can understand, right? And then all computers are digital devices, okay?
Okay.
Do we have any analog inside the computer?
I would say no.
You would be right. What is analog? What's the difference between analog communication and transferring things or a signal analog versus digital?
Well, I would say analog has to be hard connected by wires.
No, it
Okay.
can be wireless, but let me ask you this. It's like the ocean. What are in the oceans when a lot of wind blows? Waves. A continuous fluctuating wave-like signal is analog, right?
Okay.
Fluctuating wave-like signal. Where digital information just has two discrete states to that signal at a given time, either a 1 or a 0. Generally an on or off impulse a lot of times. Something that's in an on state would be represented as a what? Do we remember that? What number represents the on state?
I would say a 1.
A 1. And what would represent an off state then? No trick question. 0, right. And remember how we talked about our motherboard has little wires, they're called traces all through it? Remember, it has traces and at a certain point in time, in a millisecond, those wires, one that carries electricity would be characterized as a 1 to the software. One that doesn't, or to the firmware rather, and one that doesn't would be categorized as a 0, right?
Okay.
CDs, pits and non-pits, right? Something with a pit would be represented, I believe, as a 1. I think it's the pit. And something with a non-pit that's read to that laser via a mirror would be represented as a 0. It's the entire machine language.
I didn't know that.
That's how that works. Little inside.
So a CD disc is full of this? They're like peaks and valleys? Like a wave?
No. A CD or a DVD starts with the data layer, which is actually closer to the label side, actually on top. People think it's on the bottom. It's actually closer to the label side. But anyway, it starts in the middle and goes in one continuous spiral. Very good, thank you. Spiral all the way to the outside with little pits and non-pits. And those pits are reflected to a laser because a light hits them. And actually a light, I believe, hits the pits and it reflects to a mirror. And when there's reflection, that I believe represents a 0, and when there's no reflection from the pit, it represents a 1. But that's how that works with a laser and a mirror and a data track that goes all the way around, the pits and non-pits. Everything inside the computer, every key you press, everything is just represented as in 1s or 0s. Digital information. Now, is digital information, does that exist in Mother Nature? Is there digital out there in Mother Nature's computer?
I would say no.
No, it's an entire man-made entity. It's an entire man-made machine language, transfer, communication process, and processing procedure. It's entirely man-made. Okay, that's digital versus analog, which is a continuous fluctuating wave-like pattern. And we can convert analog to digital through various chips. Okay, can do that. They're called DACs, digital analog converters, and various things. But that's neither here nor there, a little bit beyond the scope. Now, what is an operating system?
An operating system.
Is Internet Explorer?
Yes.
Or Internet
I was going to say Windows.
Windows is Microsoft Windows, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to name them? Let's talk. Let's do this. Let's do this. We're refreshing here. We're refreshing. Let's do this. Let's get back on track. The operating system is the master control program that runs the computer, correct? Or any device, digital device.
Yes.
And it also enables the user to interact with the device, correct?
Yes.
Right. And there's some main ones for computers, and there's some main ones for mobile phones and tablets, correct? Right. Now, what are the main ones for computers? Microsoft Windows. All right.
Yeah.
Other ones.
It's slipping my mind right now.
Right.
I keep
Other
wanting
ones
to say
like
Iogi, but it's not. It's something like that.
Iogi?
Yeah.
Really? Is there a new one on me?
No.
Okay.
No. It's slipping my mind. I can see an I. Okay. There's Windows. Mac.
Mac. Apple.
Apple.
Okay. Windows, Apple or Mac. What is Windows is made by Microsoft. Apple and Macintosh is called what? OS what? OS. There's an X, but do we call it X? Or do we call it OS 10?
10.
OS 10. Max is OS 10 with various versions, right? And then they also name them with like other things like cats and things like that. But it's OS 10. When you see OS X, that's OS 10.
Okay.
All right, there's various versions OS 10. Microsoft Windows is now on Windows 10. Okay, Microsoft Windows 10. What's the other one made by Google? It's also a web browser. Chrome, right? The Chrome operating system.
Yeah.
And then there's another one.
I couldn't think of that.
That's all right. We're going to refresh. We're reviewing. What's the other one? The other one would be Linux, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right, Linux. So we got Linux, Microsoft Windows for computers, OS 10, Apple or Macintoshes, and the Chrome OS. Which one would be the most, I would say, where one would be the most tech savvy? Wouldn't that would be Linux?
I would, yeah, that was going to be my guess.
Linux. Is there one version of Linux, 2, 3, or various? Many. What's wrong?
I don't.
Lots. What are they called? Do you remember? You don't have your notes from before.
No.
You also haven't went over your notes since the last time we were here, have you?
No.
All right. So we need to do that. Like I said, we need to go home and do that so this stays current. Okay, it'll come right back to you, but we're kind of pulling back a little bit here. But it's okay. We'll get through it.
Yeah.
So that's why you needed one of these, the notebook. So instead of those little slips of paper, you can write it all down or copy and you review it. That's how you get to know it. Because